Okay, we are live. Okay, hi Danny, how are you? And okay, we are late by 8 minutes to start the live, but we are here. Finally, we are here. How are you
Yes,
feeling today?
I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, it's nice. I'm in Bangkok at the moment, so it's a nice sunny day. Yeah,
Oh,
feeling good, good vibes.
oh, so you are in Bangkok currently. I see you are a resident of UK, but why
Yeah.
Bangkok currently?
So I'm just traveling around for a bit at the moment. Yeah, seeing all the different cultures. I did it last year. Just yeah, bouncing
Amazing.
around.
So that's the freedom that we get when we start something of our own, right? Like
Hmm.
that's the freedom. So
Yeah.
I'll start from that only. So Danny, what was like everyone, most of you like in this social media industry knows you. Okay, whenever I
Mhm.
was talking about you, everyone's like, yeah, I know her. So you're kind of famous. So since you're famous, so people would like to know your story. What's the story behind how you started and why social media? Why not any other particular field in digital marketing? So, what's your short story? Just tell me. I'm really excited
Yeah.
to know that.
Okay, so long story short, I was studying biochemistry at university. I
Okay.
needed money before I went into my final year, so I did a placement at my students' union, basically just running their Instagram. I've used Instagram personally, but I didn't know too much about it. So I learned a lot there, and yeah, I really loved it. So you probably remember like all the lockdowns. So we were put on furlough 3 days a week, and essentially, I just got really bored from not working. So I did a foundation degree in social media, realized I really loved it, and then I made an Instagram account just experimenting with graphics. When I look back at the graphics now, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're awful. But from that Instagram, I had
Okay.
people coming to me like, you sound like you know what you're talking about. You sound like you're passionate. Can you help me
Yeah.
run an Instagram account? And at that point, I didn't know you can make a job out of it. So I was like, yeah, sure. And then it just grew and grew from there, from other people recommending me and then from the Instagram. So yeah, like it was not planned, it was not meant to happen. But yeah, I'm so glad that it did.
But it's like the your passion finds you. Like when people say your passion will find you one way, you just have to start exploring, and that's the case in your thing, right? Like your
Yeah.
passion found you. As you mentioned, like a first creatives, the social media creative sucks, really.
Hmm.
But we love it. We still love it because we see a work, a passion into creating that graphic. Although we are not the graphic designer, but as a social media person, we have a say in our graphics as well, right?
Hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, Danny, as I was going through your post, and when I was talking about you with different people in this industry, everyone, and you also mentioned about you that you are particularly expert in social media and Instagram, TikTok, and everything. So we have an audience which who belongs to a business background, who have their own businesses, and we have a segregation of audience who are like learning, wanted to make a career or are already doing a job but still figuring out what should we do and etc. And
Yeah.
third is one who are trying to create a personal brand. And I guess so
Mhm.
our answers, our expertise actually answers all these three categories of audience, right? So let's start with the business one, because we help business in majority of our day. We are helping businesses. So
Yeah.
what do you think? Do you really think that like Instagram algorithm keeps on changing, right?
Yeah.
TikTok algorithm, LinkedIn algorithm keeps on changing. So, do you really think that businesses still should be so serious about the platform where the algorithm keeps on changing? Do you think so? Like, what's your point of view on that?
Yes, so I would say 100%. I wouldn't say necessarily that every single business should be on TikTok and Instagram. The type of
Okay.
business you have and basically your target audience will depend on what platform you're on and how much energy you put into each. For
Mm-hmm.
example, you might put a little bit of energy into Instagram. It's good to use more as a portfolio, but you will get the most results and conversions on TikTok. So it depends what your brand
Oh,
is. But obviously, like you said, the social media algorithms are changing all the time, pretty much every
yeah, it
yeah.
is. Personally, I know that. Yes.
There's a lot
So,
more competition now, and it's getting harder and harder to get that reach. But if you either want to learn about it yourself or invest in someone who can do it, I've seen brands go from nearly going bankrupt and liquidation and closing to then 2 years down the line having an office, be thriving, be actually giving out business grants to other businesses. And
wow.
yeah, so social media can completely change your business essentially.
Got it. Got it. So you mean to say like the if the business chooses the right platform and they sticks to it and be really consistent, then there's a higher chance that they might survive and they might get some good results in their business and revenue. Is that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Got it. So there's this one thing, like I am into marketing since 5 years, and there's one thing that I have noticed, and I really believe in that is that every person should have their own unique voice, and every business should have their own unique USP. So, what do you think? Like, for example, there are two brands. For if I'm working for an immigration brand and you're working for a similar immigration brand, so we might create such strategies which might be common. How actually a business can create and showcase and out loud their unique voice so that they can stand out among the crowd. Like, what is the answer to this from your experience?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you should always show aspects of your personality within your brand. Even the more corporate brands where you don't want to necessarily show your personality, you can create a personality for your brand. And in the sense of like USPs, a lot of people, when they think of USPs as a business owner, they think just kind of within their own little bubble in their own head, but you need to be thinking about your USPs in terms of your target audience. So for anybody watching who doesn't know USP, it means basically your unique selling points. So
Yeah.
what makes your business different from the rest, different from your competitors? Why would people choose you over a similar brand? So think about what your target audience is looking for. For example, I don't know, I work with a lot of female lifestyle e-coms, so say makeup
Yeah.
brushes. Could be like your makeup brushes are soft, they're sustainable, and they pick up a lot of pigment. When
So that
realistically,
smallest thing can become your USP. You mean to say that?
mhm, yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Makes sense. Hmm.
yeah. So let's take that makeup brush example. You may think, oh, that's some great USPs, but is your target audience necessarily going to be concerned about the softness? They may care about the pigment, but they may also be more caring about the price point, about what the product is
Yeah.
made of, if it's going to last long, if you've got a 5-year guarantee. So you need to think about your target audience. What do they want as a USP? Like
That's
if
true.
it's sustainable, that's cool, but is that what your target audience is looking for when they're Googling makeup brushes to buy? So yeah.
Got it, got it. So, Danny, like we know that USP is important. So, for example, you work with some good brand and they do not have their USP, or might be they are still not aware of their USP. So, as a social media person who is working for their brand, do you help them in finding their USP, or do you give them certain days of time to think about their USP? Like how the process looks like for a social media perspective.
Mhm.
How do you help
Um,
that?
The answer is probably very annoying, and the answer is it depends. So, most brands that come to me don't have USPs, or they don't have the best USPs. They've kind of just knew they should have them, so they've written some things down quickly. So, what I'll usually do is I'll talk with the business owner, and I want everything to come from them, but I help guide them down the path of their target audience and what they may want. So, I help them build those more in depth USPs with them, if that makes sense. So, I don't want to I could look at a brand and be like, okay, are your USPs, but I don't want it to come from me. I prefer to work with people and help them get an understanding as well, rather than me just take everything over and they have no idea what's going on. So yeah, I kind of have different prompts and work with them and look through competitors to see what their USPs
Okay.
could be. And then yeah, we
Okay.
build it together.
So you actually help them out because, as we mentioned, it's core. It's a core. Like on the basis of that, we create content. We think of content ideas, and content ideas actually pop up in our mind as a social media person
Mhm.
automatically, right? Do you feel so? Like when we talk to a client, we get some ideas instantly in our mind. I guess
Mhm.
so. That is the sign that we are made for it. What do you think about that? Right? Like when we go with the discovery call with the clients, and whenever they explain their whole idea, the whole business idea, the whole content creation idea, the whole system actually pops in their mind because we are made
Mhm.
for it. We feel like that.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, one more question, Denny, is that if the brand is starting for the very first time. So, for example, I am currently working with a real estate brand in Dubai, and
Mhm.
they were into offline market since 10 years, and they have their legacy here. But after seeing this digital thing, like everyone is digital and all those things, they were like, Jyoti, we have to create something online. But
Mhm.
now they do not know how to start. They are so confused. So I think you must have worked with such brands who have a legacy in offline market but online zero. So what do you prefer from your expertise, from your masters? Like, this is something, the step one, step two, step three for such brands, for the CEOs, if I talk about.
Mhm. Okay, yes, perfect. So the first one would be probably one that you wouldn't think of, which is the expectation. So quite often when a brand has a large offline presence, they think as soon as they hop online, they're going to get the same results.
Hmm.
So just managing those expectations, because realistically, if you're a brand new brand in the online world, you're not going to
Yeah.
get those instant results unless
Yeah.
you're a household name, like say for example if Nike didn't have Instagram, obviously people will go and follow that.
Hmm. Yeah.
So just expectations first off, and then
Hmm.
second off, like a step again that people often miss is that online people don't know who you are, they don't know what you're about, they don't know your USPs, they don't know who you're trying to target, they don't know what you
Hmm.
can offer them, what value you're giving them. So it can be very easy to just start an account and assume it's like in the same position as your offline marketing, when realistically you need to start from the beginning. You need to maybe do, depending on the brand, you can do team introductions, you can do behind the scenes, you can do about us, and kind of build it up as if it's a new brand, even though
Yeah.
it's, so just establish that with the audience. And then whenever someone clicks on the page, they can see all the information as if it was a new brand. If you go straight in on the deep end, nobody's going to really know what's going on. You probably won't get as much traction or as much conversions. So yeah, basically just start from the beginning as if it's a new brand.
Yeah, you have to forget like you have a 10 years of legacy in the offline market, and you have to feel like I'm new to it and have to learn from everything from scratch, right? I guess so.
Mm.
In if we work in marketing, Danny, you think like along with social media marketing, along with marketing, we also work as a mindset coach for the CEOs and all, to actually make
Mhm.
them understand how things work, and make them believe in their own business and USPs. Do you think like sometimes I also work as a mindset coach for my clients? You
Yes,
feel so.
100%.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Okay, so Danny, we talked about businesses, and we talked about if someone is starting for new, what should they do? And if someone is already there, then they should find their USP and then promote it and be really consistent. From your experience, Danny, like you have like you mentioned that you have 7 million plus reach. To you have done like that on those on social media. What do you think, like how much time does it take on an average for any new account to get such a good reach or become viral? Like everyone is just dying to get viral, because
Mhm.
that one viral thing gives you immense ROI, at least for a shorter period of time, but it gives you some good ROI. So
Mhm.
what's the average time it takes to become like good at it, and social media profile should become mature? Like what's that time from your
Yeah.
experience? Yeah.
So the time period is going to differ from the type of account you have.
Okay.
And for example, if you've hired a social media manager, you'll get results a lot faster than if you're learning yourself.
Yeah.
But just a note, I don't think your goal with any social content should be to go viral. That's not how you build community. That's not how you get long-term ROI. It's not how you kind of build a brand. Yes, it can lead to like a short-term spike in sales for a couple of days or in leads for a couple of days, but it's not going to get you where you want to be. And a lot of people focus on that virality, when realistically you shouldn't really be doing that. But in terms of building the account and potentially getting a few viral videos and having a good sort of presence online, it really, really depends. For example, I currently work with a burnout coach, and her account is taking a little more time to gain traction than, for example, I work with a female lifestyle planner, simply because it's a lot more aesthetic content, it's easier to make content out of, and then people are always more hesitant to invest in something like a course from a burnout coach. So it also depends on
Yeah.
your average price per product, what you're offering. If you're offering a £3,000 course, it's going to take a lot more time to build people up and for people to follow your community than if you're selling a £20 planner. But I would say on average, you can expect to see good results on something like Instagram and TikTok within 2 to 3 months. You'll see a drastic
Hmm.
difference. On something
Okay.
like Pinterest, it takes a lot longer, like 6 months, because Pinterest is so long
Hmm.
form.
And
But
it's kind of a
on that,
slow platform, I think so. Pinterest, right? You
yeah,
have like the growth is really slow, but once you get it, once the aesthetics are right, everything becomes right there, right?
yeah.
I think
One of
so.
the reasons Pinterest, one of my favorites, is because say on Instagram or TikTok, you post, you maybe get like traction on the video for maybe a week maximum. On
Mm-hmm.
Pinterest, I'm still getting thousands of views every week on pins I posted 2 years ago. So there's no like algorithm that stops people seeing the content. It's like a consistent. So that's why it's so long form. If you're on Pinterest for like 2 years, it just grows exponentially. Whereas it's not the same with Instagram and TikTok. It's a lot harder to maintain that traction. But on Pinterest, you can easily go quiet for like 2 months. It doesn't affect anything too much. So yeah,
Wow.
Pinterest
I
is
guess
amazing.
we all need such stability in terms of social media because the speed of growth, I would not say growth, but everyone is just rushing out on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. It sometimes feel like everyone is winning and we are the one who are missing out. Sometimes it makes you really overwhelmed. But that's an amazing point, and it was a new point for me. So on that similar point, this question is coming to my mind. What is that conversion ratio or percentage on each platform, like keeping like Pinterest has the like longitude thing, like at least after 2 years you are still getting some good views after 2 years. So what about the conversion rates, like which has higher, and then what are the average conversion rates on each platform?
Yeah, so the conversion rates will be highest on Pinterest if it's optimized. And yeah, essentially, if you think of a lot of it doesn't actually come down to the content, it comes down to the mindset of people when they're on the app. When people go onto Pinterest, they're looking for inspiration or they're looking to buy. When people go on TikTok, they're looking for entertainment. When people go on Instagram, they're looking for updates from friends or maybe a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of education, kind of all mixed in. When people go on TikTok and Instagram, they're not looking to purchase products. They're looking to entertain themselves, to get that dopamine hit of going on social media. Whereas on Pinterest, they're waiting with their card and they're like, I want to buy something, show me what to buy. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
Pinterest definitely has the highest. In terms of TikTok Shop does have a pretty good conversion rate.
Okay.
But if it's just TikTok in general, that's more good for increasing your reach and your kind of the top end of your funnel, just your organic reach. And then Instagram, I would say, is also really good for conversions because that's where you're going to tailor your community. You're going to warm them up. You're going to show them behind the scenes. You're going to hop on stories. So
Yeah.
Instagram, I would say Pinterest is the best for conversions, then Instagram, and then TikTok.
Wow, like that was such an amazing fact. I didn't knew that. Like here, if I talk about Middle East, people are more active on TikTok than on Instagram, and people from the age of 30 to 50 are active on Facebook, and then Pinterest is for the inspiration. I didn't knew that people actually go to Pinterest actually to search for the product. Like, do they in Europe, or like this trend is in Europe or like everywhere? Just curious to know this.
No, it's everywhere, and you can actually there's a Pinterest tool you can use, which is native to Pinterest. If you make an account, you'll be able to access it, where you can Google a search term, or not Google, sorry, put into Pinterest the search term. So, for example, the makeup brushes, you could put
Yeah.
in makeup brush for sale, and it will actually show you throughout the year when people are searching for it. So it might be in July around summertime, and then you know to post pins about the makeup brushes in July because that's when like say 10 million people are searching for it. So you can actually get the search data from Pinterest themselves about the specific product and the specific keywords that you want to use. And then you can use that to your advantage. So you can post around those times and then you're going to get loads more traction during those times. So you can actually
Amazing.
see when people are looking to search for or buy those particular products.
Got it, got it. So if someone wants to make their personal brand as well, like if someone wants people to know them, is it okay to start creating their own account on Pinterest and start posting their videos and all there? Is it okay for a personal brand person? Is it?
Yes, so if you do short form video, i.e., Instagram
Yeah.
Reels, YouTube Shorts, or
Yeah.
TikToks, you can repurpose them onto Pinterest straight away. They're called Pinterest idea pins,
Yeah.
which again is just like Reels for Pinterest. And then you have your static pins, which is just like the feed. So I've done that with a few of mine. I don't actually currently have a personal Pinterest, but I'm something that I want to like invest time into because I'm going to be building digital resources and a
Okay.
Pinterest course as well. So I'm going to be experimenting with that myself. But I've seen a lot of people get amazing results from building their personal brand on Pinterest. Again, a lot of people just put off because it does kind of take 5 to 6 months before you'll see any sort of return. So it kind of
Yeah.
feels like energy into nothing. But 2 years down the line, you'll be so thankful you did it. So yeah, you just got to stick with it.
Amazing. Like that's such a new insight, Danny. Thank you so much to like our audience know about this, because people are not so familiar with Pinterest. I think so. If you are pitching Pinterest to any business, you must have to explain everything to them, right? Because they are
Mhm.
not much familiar with it. Amazing. Like even I use Pinterest for graphic inspiration for the clients and for my personal brand as well, but never
Mhm.
thought of making my personal brand on Pinterest. That's such an amazing idea. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
The next question that I had was, Danny, since you are in this industry since many years,
Mhm.
there are two ways: organic way and inorganic way, the ads part and non-ads part. So
Yeah.
do you actually suggest your brands, the companies in which in like for which you work with, do you suggest them to run ads like from the very first 1 month, or do you suggest them let's do organic for the first 3 months and then we'll see the result? Like, what is your perspective about
Mhm.
it? If any business person is listening to a podcast, and this question must be in his mind, like whether should I put money into ads or not, or should I just leverage or just give freedom to my social media person that please go organic for 3 months, I'm okay with that. So
Yes.
your expertise, your answer, please.
Yes. So if you are new to social media,
Mm,
what unfortunately a lot of brands do is they use it as a last kind of resource, or a
mm,
last resort. So they'll launch their brand, they'll realize they're not getting many sales, and then they'll come to someone like me and they'll be like, I need to grow really quick. Like, what can we do?
yeah.
Which is one of the worst things you can do, because if you've made a new account, it's really detrimental to the account to run ads on it straight away, but you're not going to get many organic kind of sales without having a previous community that you've built up. So
Right.
it is almost impossible to generate a sustained community, people who are
Okay.
engaged and also run ads on a brand new account.
Hmm.
Not that it's not been done before, but it's just very unrealistic for the majority of brands. So the best thing to do is, if it's a new account, set up your
Hmm.
organic presence for at least 3 months before you then run ads, because
Three
basically when
months.
you run, I'm not an ads expert, but I work with
Hmm.
one of my best friends. He runs an agency, all
Hmm.
in ads. He is an ads expert. He's amazing, but essentially when you run ads, you will get a lot of bot accounts. All your metrics will be messed up, because at the moment Instagram doesn't differentiate between where the reaches come from, so you won't be able to see what's working organically. It may get you a few sales, but again, it will be better in the short term, but in the long term it's going to be detrimental to your account. So I personally would say build up organically as much as possible, and then if you are in a period where you're wanting to spend money on ads, then you should invest in ads. I personally have never invested in ads for any of my brands. I
Hmm.
just prefer to do it organically. I'm lucky where I know how to build organically, and then I can put as much energy into it as I need to. But yeah, definitely don't run ads from the beginning. Like, give it a
Hmm.
while, and then yeah,
Got it.
build your
At least
followers.
3 months, like go for organic. That's your point, right? I
Mm,
agree to that. I totally agree to that, because recently, yesterday, I had a meeting with a client and she asked me, Jyoti, should we put our money into ads from the very first week? And it was a no, because as you said, like Instagram gets to know, of course, from where the views are coming and from where views are not coming. And if you're
mhm,
putting money, Instagram is not going to try to give you organic reach then. It's kind
yeah,
of normal. Like if you think about as a human, if you give them a chocolate and ask them to eat a vegetable, they are always going to go for a chocolate. It's
mhm,
like that. And Instagram is earning from the ads, of course. Okay. One question that I wanted to ask you, that I always ask anyone who comes to the podcast, is that what is that one big myth on social media that you are like just tired of hearing and you are like, no man, this is not how it
mhm.
happens. What's that myth?
I think, if anyone sees my content, they probably know what I'm going to say. But it's that Instagram, either Instagram is dead, which I feel like is slowly dying out, people realizing that it's not. But that mixed in with Instagram doesn't work for my business. Because what a lot of people that say that they've had Instagram before and it's worked really well. But as the algorithm has changed, and it's changed hugely in the last year, they haven't adapted their content or their strategy. So of course their old strategy is not working, because it's not really the same platform anymore. So yeah, people that say Instagram doesn't work for their brand, because I'm a firm believer that Instagram will work for pretty much any brand. I'm not going to
Yes.
say 100%, because there'll always be that one that's like doesn't
Yeah.
work. But yeah, the majority of brands, like 99.999%, Instagram will work. You just need to figure out how it will work and how to tailor the content to the algorithm.
Right, exactly. So I think so, and I think so. There's a lack of patience in our in this generation specifically. I know in terms of like if we talk about CEOs or companies, they have lack of patience because they want to see the results like really quick, and this real quick doesn't exist right now. Correct?
Mhm.
Like every day, new companies are making their accounts on Instagram, TikTok. You would agree to that, right? And it's kind of a lot of competition, and it takes time to build the USP and then promote that USP, right?
Mhm. Yes.
It is. Okay. So, Danny, if as we talked about, we shouldn't be investing in ads and we should be more focusing on organic thing. For example, for the first 3 months, a brand or a personal brand a person who is trying to make a personal brand, or a company who's trying to build a community online is not seeing much results in 3 months of content efforts. And you can tell me if any of your experience in the starting of your career it happened, then as an expert, what were the actions, what were the steps you took? Like if you're not seeing results in 3 months of organic marketing, then what you suggest and what you will do in that situation?
Mhm. Yes. So what I tend to do on all my new accounts that I start with is I constantly test different content types and different content pillars. So a lot of brands, again, because I mainly work with female ecom, we
Okay.
do things like memes, affirmations, behind the
Hmm.
scenes, brand transparency, about the product, and then product education,
Okay.
education around the brand, education around the brand industry. So we experiment with all these completely different content types. And then I basically analyze from those content types which ones are gaining the most traction month on month. A
Correct.
big mistake that even I'm going to say most social media managers make is they build this huge strategy document for a brand and they're like, okay, that this is our strategy. But realistically, that's not what's going to get you the most growth. What you should be doing is analyzing the content month on month and adapting that content for the next
Hmm.
month. So I will never give a client a strategy document that says, okay, this is our strategy, because social media is changing so much and the algorithm is changing so much. It needs something that needs to be analyzed week on week and month on month. So for example, let's take the makeup brush example. Let's say
Yeah.
memes work really well with the audience. What I'll do is then I'll carry more memes into the next month. And then what people don't expect as well is that traction is going to change. It may be in that month, people are less receptive to memes. And a big thing that can affect traction, which people don't normally think about, is seasons. So, for example, summer, people are not
Yeah.
on their phones as much. You generally see a dip in reach, a dip in
Yeah.
engagement,
Yeah.
and it's
Hmm.
simply because people are just out in the sun with their friends. They're not on their phone. Whereas in winter, people, are a bit low. It's dark and gloomy. They spend
In the
more
blanket and just scrolling the phones. Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in summer it may be that people want inspiration and positivity, but then in winter people kind of just want more memes and entertaining content. So it's not just here's a strategy that's going to grow you. It basically just analyze it week on week and month on month, and then if you're not seeing the growth, experiment with even more different content types and content pillars until you find something that sticks. And then don't get excited when you do find something that sticks because probably so it's like a constant battle with the algorithm, and that's how you grow.
Got it, got it. So you, as you mentioned, this is again a big bomb. You do not provide strategies to the clients, but you analyze week on week content, and then based on that, you create the next week content like that.
Mhm. So I provide strategy to a more kind of business level rather than a content level. So we'll do a SWOT analysis, we'll do SMART goals, and we'll do competitor analysis, target audience analysis. So everything that you need in a strategy. But in terms of the content, I will not say, okay, we post 2 reels per week, we post one meme, we post that, and then that's like a
Yeah.
set content plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have a set content plan because that's not going to lead to growth essentially.
Okay, but I'm really curious to know this, Danny. I have talked to many social media person, people who are into marketing. They when they pitch to the client, and like of course clients are here, people who are working in marketing industry are listening to us and will listen to this video. So when we pitch to a company or any brand, we tell them, okay, in this month we are going to post like 10 reels and five carousel, five statics. So do you fix that with your clients, or what is your way of doing it?
Mhm. So all of my retainers are guaranteed on results. So I don't say you'll get this many reels, you get this many posts. The only platform I do that on is TikTok. So I'll say you get either 30, 60, or 90 per month. So 1, 2, or 3 per day. But with Instagram and Pinterest, I just guarantee results. So they send me their current dashboard, say they've got 1,000 average reach per month. I'll be like, I
Okay.
can 300 times that, or I can 400 times that. And then my price increases for how much they want the account to grow. That way the client knows that their account's going to grow. And for me, I know I just put in whatever energy needs to be put in to get those results. I think it's very, I don't like it to be very transactional between me and my clients. I like it to be very more
Mm.
of like a friend relationship where we're both working on the brand because we both want it to grow, which is
Yeah.
also why I'm very selective about my clients. But
Yes.
yeah, I will not be like, oh, you've paid me X amount of money, let me create some posts, post it, and then I don't really like analyze it or care about what happens with it. I want it to be a mutual relationship where we're both trying to grow the brand. So
Yeah.
they'll pay me to grow it by 500% in the next 6 months, and then I'll make sure that happens.
Okay, so you do not fix the number of assets that you'll provide. You just put on everything in order to get that result. So you promise while pitching or while in pitching email, you just write like promise, like I guarantee you in 6 months you're going to get 500% growth in your Pinterest. Now, if they ask you how, then that is like your own strategy week on week. And of course, they must be analyzing every month. Like we have monthly meetings here. Of course, it is globally it is same, but if I specifically talk about Middle East and Dubai, clients here actually prefer to have a monthly meetings just to see the progress, how many posts you did, the number of posts you promised are done or not. So this mindset, I guess, so restricts you the growth, or do you think is this the fine thing, or do you have any suggestions of what you do in your site?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's always good not to guarantee a set amount of posts. One,
Mm.
because say for example, if I used to always guarantee posts, I've only done it in the
Mm.
last 6 months where I haven't. For example, I'd guarantee like 4 to 5 posts a week, but if I knew one week that posting more is actually going to be more detrimental to the account because the engagement rates have dropped, the best thing to do
Mm.
is post less and just get good engagements on those posts. So I wouldn't want to feel like forced to make those posts if I know it's not going to help the account. But clients are always very receptive, especially when I give them those numbers. They're like, yeah,
Mm.
like I want to get those numbers. And generally, they just have full trust anyway because they've seen my LinkedIn or they've spoken to
Yeah.
me. So they kind of have that confidence that I know what I'm doing. And then with that
Yeah.
metric result, they know that I'm going to grow them. So it's kind of, I'll put in the work to get them there however I need to. I
Oh,
also have 24-hour communications with all my clients on WhatsApp. So if they have any questions or concerns or they want to ask anything at all, they'll just put me a message on WhatsApp and then I'll reply when I can, like in between meetings or just when I'm working if I see it go off. So yeah, there's like that safety net there for them.
got it. So they do not ask you like, what's the monthly progress? They do not ask you that, or is it like, okay, after 5 months we'll see the results or guarantee? How is that in
Mm.
your site? Yeah.
I would say it's not a set thing. It's not like we have a monthly sit down and we're like, okay, this is the progress. It's more an ongoing thing. So, for example, I've got one client who every Monday usually asks, what's the accounts looking like? I'll just send him a quick voice note. I'll log into his stuff and I'll be like, okay, it's looking like
Okay.
this,
Hmm.
that. Is there any particular content you want to go out this week? So it's
Got
more when they ask, but I tend to find that people don't ask too much because they can see the progress on the account. So
on the
it's
account,
almost
right?
like,
Hmm.
yeah, they
Right.
see
Right.
it
Exactly.
happening.
Hmm. Exactly,
Yeah.
got it. So, Danny, one more thing. Like, for example, there was this recent case that happened with me in with my marketing agency here in Dubai.
Mhm.
That one, we were creating content. Just an example. If we are creating content, but the client is like, no, this is not like that. We don't want to position ourselves like that, or maybe this is something that we do not like that, etc. Like there are few points, but we know that there are certain content pillars and certain tone that might work to grow on that particular platform.
Mhm.
So do you give this freedom, or do you take this freedom to like experiment with your creativity, or do you ask approvals for every post that you may publish on their accounts? Like how does it look like at your side?
Yes. So what I do is, because I have a team as well, I don't necessarily do all the content myself. So we have a
Hmm.
central content calendar, and we have one girl that does all the copy, a few girls that do the content. I generally do the strategy and the structure. and then they fill in the necessary blocks on the content calendar, and then I give clients, give every single client the option to approve all the posts that go out. So we just have an approval column next to a notes column. If they approve the post, they just highlight it in green. It's on Google Sheets, so they can do that
You
really
will
easily.
of course, yeah.
Yeah. Or if they want to change it, they can just put in the notes section. We generally do 2 weeks in advance. So, for example, within the next week, we'll be sending off probably the first 2 weeks of November. So I'll pop a WhatsApp saying we've got all the content there. When you next got a chance, because you look for approvals. So they'll fill that in. If there's any changes that need to be made, we'll make them and then schedule it from there. And then anything they approve, we schedule straight away. What I tend to find though is that new clients onboarding, they'll want approvals for 1 to 2 months, and then when they have the confidence that we know what we're
Then
doing,
it
they're
goes,
actually just like,
yeah,
you know
then
what
it
you're doing.
goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Oh,
yeah.
enough of like a lot of informative questions and answers, and every answer of yours was kind of a light spark. Oh my god, this is something new. Oh my god, this is something new, because this is the common tradition which is happening in terms of the client base. They expect few things, but I guess so. This time, this era is all about experimenting and showing so much freedom in creativity. The more creative you are, the better progress you get. Okay, with that, Danny, I would like to ask, like, in your past experience in marketing, what is that aha moment where you find, oh my god, I am made for that, and this is something that I can only do? What was that? What was that experience? And exactly, like, just explain me everything about it.
I think it was probably like, how long ago now? Maybe like a year ago. I
Okay.
was very much like in my imposter syndrome. I was like, is this what I want to do? Like, I didn't even like study this very much. I don't have much experience. Like, should I be charging for this? Should I even be offering it? And then, yeah, I had quite a dry patch of clients, and then all of a sudden, I don't know why, nothing changed, but I just got loads of clients coming in. And then after like 3 months, I got so many messages from clients like, you've literally made my vision come to life, like, thank you so much.
Wow.
One thing that will always stick with me is I was on a call with a client, like I described earlier, one who was like kind of on the brink of liquidation, who I helped out. And they were just like crying happy tears on the call, and they were like, you've helped so much, like, you've changed this business forever. So, and then I was crying on the call, and then everyone was crying. So I think just like, for me, it's hearing the feedback from my clients, which I think is why I've never had to pay for ads, for example. Like, I get recommended so much to everyone. I get so many leads through, and I'm very lucky to be in a position where I can kind of hand select my like clients that I work with and the brands I work with, because a big thing for me, like I said, is that I want to have a passion for the brand. I don't want to take on, for example, like a sofa company, because I'm not passionate about sofas. I won't be as passionate to grow their brand and help out as much as I would, for example, a skincare company, because I love skincare. So I want to make sure my vision and the brand owner's vision is very aligned, so we can kind of grow it together, almost like a partnership, but I'm just like running their social media. But yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. So that was the aha moment. Okay, this was something it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and we all face failures in a whole day, or sometimes we feel like so overwhelming. Although we are doing good, but still, when we look out others, or there are certain things that happen, and then that make us feel sad. So we talked a lot about marketing, but now let's talk about life as well in general, because people do look up to us. Like, how do we handle everything? So how do you handle stress in your day-to-day life, really? And do you believe in manifestation? Do you believe in believing in universe? Like, who is
Yes.
Danny behind the social media? Yeah.
Hey, so how do I so when I deal with stress, I very much know like what I it sounds weird, but I go with like what my body feels. So like if my body is tired, I will usually go to the gym, or if I'm feeling like very physically drained, I will just lay in bed and watch Netflix. If I'm feeling
Okay.
like low motivation, I'll go try a new class that I've never tried before, like a new dance class, a new yoga class, something like that. I just kind of go with what my body feels. If I'm feeling stressed, I don't have a set thing of like, hey, here's my steps now to getting not stressed.
Okay.
I do this thing called internal journaling, and it sounds really weird, but basically multiple times throughout each and every single day, I say to myself, like just inside my head, like, how are you
Yeah.
feeling? And it doesn't matter if you're stressed, if you're happy, if you're sad, you just think to yourself, how are you feeling? So, for example, I'll do it like externally right now. So, how am I feeling? And be like excited. And then I ask myself, why am I excited? It might be because I'm on a podcast right now and it's really cool. And then it'd be like, why did it make you feel excited? And then kind of just get within how you're feeling, because it's so easy each and every day to get wrapped in like the world and like busy and hustle bustle. It's good just to come back to your internal self. And it works for like, it helps me a lot actually when I'm like sad. So for example,
Yeah.
it could be, how am I feeling? I might say to myself, exhausted. Why do I feel exhausted? Because I've done a lot of work today, haven't really gone out much, haven't gone to the gym, haven't eaten well. And then sometimes a question I ask myself is that, especially if it's a negative emotion, I say, is that within my control? So for example, feeling exhausted is in my control. I can stop work for the day, take myself out. If it's something like, I'm feeling upset, why do you feel upset? Oh, because me and my boyfriend broke up, for example. That's not something you can control, so it's kind of just accepting that you can't control it. So
Accepted.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very
So
long-winded answer.
asking some important questions to ourselves so that your mind, because like I work with one of the manifestation coach and I have a personal life coach as well. So I got to know this, that your mind knows the answer of every question that you can ever think of in your life.
Mhm.
So of course, and that is what you're saying, like asking question why you're feeling like that. Okay, this is the answer, then why, what is the feeling, etc., like all those things. Okay, Danny, so do you actually meditate? Like, we are running all day, waking up at 9, 10, and then still, okay, we know we have our own companies. We are not working 9 to 5, but still we work more than 9 to 5 some days. So just to pause, stay calm, like, do you meditate, or is there any health related or mental health related thing that you do, or like you add on to your daily life? Like, it's kind of a ritual to you. What's that? Like for me, I do a quantum meditation before sleeping, and I visualize everything that I want in my life. And I feel like, oh my God, amazingly. I feel like so happy, and then happily I just go doze off. So,
Mhm.
what's that one ritual that you follow? Of course, your fans must be excited to know that.
Oh, I love that. No, it's funny you say that, because I'm a big fan of, so I don't do visualization every night, but I do believe in like manifestation and visualization, everything like that. As a person, just personally, I'm quite spiritual as well. So yeah, I do like to meditate. I do like to visualize, but I probably say I would like to meditate more, but honest truth, I probably only do it once a month, same as visualization.
Okay.
But I've got basically my laptop screensaver is a vision board of everything that I want. I actually changed
Same
mine this
here. Same.
yeah. Yeah, I actually changed mine this morning because it wasn't very aligned with what I wanted anymore. So I completely changed it, did a little revamp. But a big thing for me, and what a lot of my personal circle know me for, is journaling. I literally journal every single day, most days, multiple times. Like, I love a journal. And often, when in your personal life and your business life, one small thing can set you off in this mental spiral. If you just write it out, sometimes I'll get so like stressed and like hectic about something. I'll write it down, and then after I'll read through it and I'll be like, do you know what? You're actually just overreacting. It's not that deep. And then I just feel like, oof, everything's gone. And it's like, okay, no, like that's the answer to the question I was looking for. Like you said, like your mind knows the answer to everything. It's just annoying because as humans, we get into mental spirals and we stress, especially with like everyday life right now. So yeah, it's good to just get it all out on paper and then forget about it or read through it. One thing I find helpful as well is if I'm going through um, a certain period, like maybe a
Yeah.
heartbreak, I journal all throughout that period. I did this last year, and then I look back like 4 months later. I look at what I'm writing, and I'm like, wow, like you were so upset, like you felt like you were never going to feel better
You
again.
feel progress there. When you read out your old journal pages, you feel like there's a progress. Not outside,
Mhm.
but here. You progressed here. And which
Yes.
matters. I
100%.
so agree with you. Like journaling every single day makes you feel so relaxed, and you are not confused. You are not overthinking about it. And just like out of the box question, what was that recent? Of course, it's about marketing. Just still, what was your recent vision board thing that came into life? What was that?
Yes. So let me have a quick look actually. So before it was very much kind of like business focused and travel focused, and it had a big thing that I wanted to do this because I tend to do them yearly. A big thing I wanted to do in 2023 is start filming and start vlogging, which I've actually done, so that's exciting. But now I wanted to kind of tailor it to more like good vibes and like that confidence era and that main character era. So I've got a lot of things on there, just like people having fun, a lot of stuff about the gym, about the vlogging, a lot of reading, meeting like new friends, and then I've got some quotes on there. I'll read a couple out now. So
Yes,
one is
I'd love to know.
too busy, I'm creating my dream life. Um, Another one is of course I'm picky, I know my worth. And then you are the main character, ones like that. So yeah, just a little slight change of tone, but yeah, I love it.
Yeah, like that has like I belong to a science background when I was doing my graduation, so I was like I have to deep dive into the science behind it and then I'm going to believe it. And when I found about exact quantum physics, like how it is so true, and then I
Hmm.
was like, okay, my life is changing now. Okay, coming to one of the most important question that one of my known person in marketing asked me to ask you is that
Hmm.
from like if you are working on new client or if you're working on your personal brand, LinkedIn, Instagram, something, so from where do you take the inspiration? What is your process to get some inspirational or creative ideas? So how does Danny's creative process looks like?
Yes, so generally I don't look for inspiration and then write a post. What I'll do is I read a lot of articles. I really like the Hootsuite articles. I think there's one called Social Media Today or Social Media News, something like that. That's really good to use. And then obviously I follow a lot of creators on LinkedIn, on Instagram and TikTok. So another thing I love, which is why I travel so much as well, is the different forms of marketing and like the different aspects that different cultures and different countries
Yeah.
bring into marketing. So I get inspired through all these places that I'm consuming content. And then when I think of a post idea, or maybe I've seen a quote that I really liked and I just want to keep it personally, I'll just write it in the notes section of my phone. And then when it comes to creating content, I'll have a scroll through and see if I can link any of those things together, see if
Yeah.
anything I can create a series out of. So it's not so much I think, oh, I'm going to do a post about Instagram. Let me go find some inspiration. It's more, I've kind of tailored my social media and the things I look at in terms of articles to be a constant source of inspiration, even like the Airbnbs or the hostels I book when traveling. I make sure they're in busy areas and looks like there's cool stuff going on. So I get inspiration every single day. I'm writing stuff like pretty much every hour of the day in my notes. And then when it comes to creating content, I just revisit those notes, like respark what inspired me, and then
Okay.
write a post or create content around that.
Okay, so like you read a lot of articles and then you make notes out of it, and whenever you need inspiration, you just give a look through your notes like that.
Mhm.
Amazing. Like, so do you actually put a time every day to give out a read on new articles, or like it's just the part of your day to day routine that you are just working, or maybe you're cooking and then you are just reading out an article? So how is it like that? Is it just inculcated, or like you put out extra time to it?
I used to kind of schedule it into my work day, but nowadays it's become such a habit that
Hmm.
whenever I'm like waiting for a bus or I'm in like a half an hour taxi,
Yeah.
or there's any like period of time that's longer than 5 minutes, I'll either go on Duolingo, because I'm currently trying to learn German, I'll read my book on my Kindle, or I'll look through articles. So it's kind of happens in and around every day. I don't really have a set time to do it anymore, because I'm in such a habit of just doing it. And I feel like for a lot of people, for me especially, if I feel like I'm forced to do something, it's like, okay, I've set the next 2 hours to reading articles, I'm much less receptive to them. I don't take them in as much. Whereas if it's kind of off my own back, say I'm in a taxi, I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's been any new changes to the Instagram algorithm. I'll
Okay.
research that. And then it's like, I'm more interested because I've actively tried looking for it. I'm not forcing myself to
Got
consume the
it.
article. So
Got it. So it's kind of just has become the part of your day-to-day life, and that's called like seamless thing. So we, since this was all about organic social growth, so you mentioned it takes 3 months to 6 months to get some organic social growth, and we should not be fixing number of assets that a social media person will be providing, but we must be focusing on 5 months or 6 months progress that we promise or as a guarantee. Or if
yeah.
someone is starting new, this is step one, step two. We should not be putting money into ads in the very first. These are some of the biggest lessons, I would say. Pinterest, please don't forget, everyone. Okay,
Mhm.
one thing that I want to ask, like, is there one thing that you would like to tell your fans, people who are watching you, that they do not know about you, but something that you want to tell them, but they do not know about you? So
Okay, I
what's
would say one thing most people don't, I kind of mentioned it, but I am a big fan of hip hop dance. So I absolutely love it. I went to a class last night actually, trying
wow.
to get better at it. I'm not the best, not the worst, but yeah, I just love hip hop dance. And the weird thing that I do is when I'm feeling negative emotions, if I'm upset or stressed, I put a song on like full blast in my earphones and I like choreograph a hip hop dance to it. And then like my stress is like, it's almost like when you cry and you just feel so much better after you cry. It's like the same feeling for
Hip
me.
hop is your thing.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I love hip hop.
Amazing, amazing. So, one very last question. What is that one lesson that you would like to give to anyone belonging to marketing or not belonging to marketing, but as a human being in their 20s? What is that one lesson you would like to give as Danny? Like, they should remember, okay, this was something suggested by Danny, and I have to remember this. So what's that one thing?
I would say you can literally do anything that you want in life. Don't compare yourself to other people. You're on a journey with yourself. That's the only person you should be comparing yourself to. Stop comparing yourself to all these like outlets and all this media. Think about what you genuinely want, and when you're consuming content, tailor that consumption. If there's a friend from high school that doesn't really give you good vibes when like you scroll, like tailor your social media feeds for that good energy and for the kind of person you want to be. And then you're going to get inspiration from anywhere, and then reaching your goals is going to be that much easier. So yeah, you're only in a journey with yourself, you're only in
Yeah.
competition with yourself, and don't consume content that you know is not going to make you feel good long term.
Amazing. And I think so. We got to learn a lot from you, Danny. I'm personally really like so happy to be on this call, discussing with you your expertise, and you have such a great life lessons. Like when you mentioned that hip hop is your thing when you feel sad, like people feel happy after crying. So there should be something. It's not, the life is not all about work. It's all
Mhm.
about work is a part of life, but you should be able to handle your emotions. Writing a journal, like you asking good questions to yourself, as you have every answer in this world. So
Mhm.
these are some of the life lessons I guess everyone is taking from this YouTube podcast. Thank you so much, Danny. And is there something that you would like to add on at the end, or you would like to ask me, or you would like to tell the audience at the end, and then we are good to wrap up? Yes.
I think I'm all good. I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming over. And one thing, whom do you want to see in this podcast next? I would reach out to them, and then I would love
Mm.
to take them over this call. I would know that. Yeah.
I would love to see. I'm not sure if you know him. It's called Tariq Ahmed.
Okay. Maybe you have to send me his profile.
I will. He'll be
Yes.
amazing. You'll love him. He's great.
Amazing. I will request him to be on this podcast, because if you have a fan following Danny, and if you are the fan of someone else, it's going to create a good ecosystem here. I swear, because we are here to create value, and more we create value, more we provide value, the better credibility we create in the market. That is what I feel. Amazing, Danny. Thank you so much, and see you in the LinkedIn comments, your post. And I love your post, by the way. And thank
Thank
you so much for coming. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.